I think you got to start with Sam Howell. Now, he took a sack, or there was a holding penalty, which is an issue from Andrew Wiley in the end zone. So he took a safety. And I was reading some of the breakdowns. I know Ron said he was late on one of the progressions when he took a sack. But overall, it looked like Sam Howell played well.
I thought he played really, really well. I mean, the offensive line is what everybody wants to talk about, and they're right. I mean, we've always been concerned about it. I was scratching my head when they drafted, DBs in the first 2 rounds.
Yep, there was a lot of head scratching going around with those
one.
picks.
I didn't understand the 2 in a row, but, I mean, on the other side of that, it looks like the back end of our defense looks pretty good. So, there's always pluses and minuses. I think one of the minuses this year will be the offensive line. The thing I was most impressed with is the first couple of drives were spotty. They had like 3rd and 30. At one point, they had you could see Bieniemy. He was like, wow, couldn't believe, here we go. He's waiting all year. This is his shot. In the first drive, it's 3rd and 30, and, they just put themselves in these impossible positions.
Mm-hmm. And it's his guy from Kansas City, Andrew Wiley, that was
he's
the
really
chief
struggling.
culprit.
Now, I don't know enough about offensive line play. I did watch the game twice on my YouTube TV app or whatever. I recorded, DVR'd it. But
was
I don't
it playing at the bar? Was it playing at Kirby's?
No, it was a big controversy.
Oh,
it wasn't
not
on
great.
at Kirby's, and we called Green Turtle. I said, yeah, we got it. And you know what they had? So I drove over to Green Turtle.
Okay.
They had a guy talking about what's going on by looking at the play-by-play or something. It was on some TV. I don't know what it was. They had a guy.
A guy commenting on the game?
Yeah, they had a guy.
Like a Twitch stream.
Subpar, substandard.
I was like, what?
Not acceptable.
And then I met another Skins fan who was there, and he and I said hello to each other, and he was like, what is going on? That's like no one in OC had the game. So anyway, I ended up watching it that night and the next day because I DVR'd it.
And there was the big delay, which sucked.
The big delay.
Yeah,
I
like
read
actually worked for me.
I was following it on social media because, I'll be honest, we had to find a stream that had the game, and we found it.
Yeah.
But then when we clicked on it,
JP Valdez over there.
It was Giants game. It was like, why am I watching the Giants? And then I go to there's a rain delay. And
no, but he did. Listen, I was most of all the things anybody cared about. I don't know what others are into. Maybe you're into linebackers or whatever. I wanted to see how the quarterback was going to play.
Wow, that's 99% of people.
I was most interested in that. And the first couple drives, I was like, wow, this is going to be, it's going to be rough. People are going to give this kid a hard time. And then, it is against, the maybe a lot of second unit guys. It was the 3rd drive, but it was very impressive. The thing I love the most is you could tell he's going through progressions. He's unfazed, and then he can create plays with his feet and still deliver the ball, even short little passes like the Cole Turner or whatever, to get first downs, to move the chains, his scrambling ability. He was exactly who I thought he was going to be, which is like a tougher, more talented, but very similar to Taylor Heineke.
Right.
Bigger arm, and just a little bit better in sort of everything. And it doesn't mean he's going to be an all-pro. I'm not suggesting that, but I think he could do the job. The job didn't look too big for him.
Yeah, he didn't look overwhelmed at all.
The running game was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
We'll stick with Howell because I think we should start with Howell and then get to Brissett and get through
Howell
everything.
There was nothing there not to like, in my opinion. Did he take he should have thrown the ball away on the sack? Sure. But you know what? It's the first preseason game.
And his stats could have been better because Turner had a drop.
No,
or
it was actually
Bates.
Bates. It was perfect ball to Bates.
Yeah.
And at least one of his incompletions was just a throwaway.
Two of the others were
throwing the
throwaways.
ball away, which is fine. I'd rather him throw the ball away, live to see the next down. Don't force it. Don't throw a pick like that. That shows that he gets what's going on. He's understanding the offense.
To me, there was literally nothing not to like. Obviously, you don't want to ever give up a sack, but, he's going to be sacked sometimes.
All quarterbacks get sacked.
Did he hold the ball too long? Yes.
Yeah.
Should he have stepped up instead of went sideways? Sure.
Quarterbacks behind bad lines tend to get sacked
and
more often.
He's going to throw interceptions, but he didn't in the first preseason game. The pass to Dotson, it wasn't perfect, but Dotson ran a perfect route.
Oh, he just completely roasted the DB.
You can't put a safety on Jahan Dotson.
And he said that in the sideline interview.
You can't do it.
He's like, if you put a safety against me, it's going to be a problem for that dude.
Yeah.
I think it's encouraging. You cannot put too much into preseason stats. And this is why. And we're going to go around the NFL with the Junkies Blitz at 7:45. But I was looking at all the box scores of all the games, and I saw in the Bills game, Josh Allen didn't play.
Yeah.
Matt Barkley who was a nothing in the league. A nothing. He was 14 for 15 for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah, but
Like if you were just looking at a box score, you'd be like, oh my God, Matt Barkley is amazing. But it's preseason. But
no one's
saying
mentioning
that,
stats.
it's encouraging.
No one's mentioning stats. Like he threw for 77. His stats were nothing. I mean, he threw for 77
he
yards.
had a touchdown pass.
Yeah, but I don't even care about any of that. What I cared about is he looked the part. My whole thing about being cautiously optimistic about Howell is this guy's played his whole life. Like last year's probably the first year he's never played. You know what I mean? Started as a freshman at a pretty big-time school, played every game. I just think he's not going to be overwhelmed. He looked comfortable. I liked even his interview with Logan Paulson. Like he looks like he's matured in the year. Not playing last year is probably the best thing that ever happened to him. You know, that's how quarterbacks should be groomed. And I'm not expecting him to be a star, but that was a great first step to just kind of, I think, calm our fears and go, you know what? Quarterback's not going to be, maybe for the first time in years, the biggest issue with this football team.
You would hope. You'd hope. Because you don't know what's going to happen in the regular season games, but it was definitely encouraging. Brissett had his touchdown run.
Brissett looked pretty darn good, too.
Now, he threw an interception, but was at the end of the half.
You know, he threw it up. Probably shouldn't have, but whatever. He looked pretty good. Threw a great ball to Pringle. Had a nice scramble. I mean, Brissett looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you pay him $8 million to come in here in case the top plan doesn't work out.
I saw a little from by the time we got into the fourth quarters of it, I was having a hard time grinding through it.
I don't consider myself a third string numbers.
I was just looking at it anyway.
Practice squad
And again,
level
I didn't think he
guys.
looked terrible. He did throw an interception that Hodges didn't really fight for. So, I mean, whatever. I don't think quarterback is the biggest issue.
No, but the main thing to discuss is quarterback, and then the second big thing is the offensive line.
Yeah.
And everybody who watched the game said the offensive line was horrible.
Well, it was mostly Wiley. Wiley's the one who I think now I saw somebody break it down and say, look, it was basically 3 snaps where Wiley really, butchered it. And that in their opinion, they're all correctable things. I just don't know enough about offensive line play to comment on it.
And maybe Wiley will be fine. I've heard Chris Russell mention this. During the playoff run and the Super Bowl, Andrew Wiley was a starter for the Kansas City Chiefs. He gave up 0 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, part of that is Pat Mahomes is getting rid of the ball with the quickness.
Nobody, I think
That's
Pro Football
a difference.
Focus had him for 9 sacks on the season, which is a fairly high number. So, listen, I don't think Andrew Wiley is any great tackle.
It's not great when your top offensive line your premier piece that you brought in, struggles in the first preseason game. It's not great. It's not optimal, and you just have to hope that Bieniemy and the staff get it corrected.
It's kind of the opposite of Sam Howell. I would say if you're watching Sam Howell, you have to be encouraged, and you're discouraged watching the offensive line.
Yeah.
I heard Leno wasn't great either.
I don't think he's been great his entire tenure here.
Right.
To me, he was Charles Leno.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody on the offensive line that you're fist pumping about.
The line might be worse this year than it was last year.
It might
and
be.
last year it was
Well, last year was
abomination.
bad because of the injuries.
But this group might be worse.
But they whiffed on
Could be.
Norwell last year. So you just
and
hope that
Trey
they
Turner.
Right, you're just hoping they don't whiff on Gates and Wiley.
And the guys they drafted, Stromberg and Daniels, but those guys, those are depth guys.
My understanding
at
is
best.
Stromberg for the first time got some reps in practice at guard. So they probably looked at the film and went, "Whoa, we might have an issue here." And so they're moving Stromberg over to maybe get some reps. Just I don't know, maybe to be a third guard. Who knows?
You know what stuck out was during the presser when Sam was talking. He was talking to the reporters and he said, "Yeah, you see every day we're doing the scramble drill every single day at camp." And I said, "Whoa, if you're doing a scramble drill every single day in camp, the line has to be dog do."
That's a huge issue.
Maybe that, or I read maybe the same article. Bieniemy said that they do that in Kansas City all the time because there are so many off-schedule plays. So they want to build a connection with the receivers and the quarterback kind of in the scramble drill because they know that that's going to happen and that you can make big plays that way. So it's something they did in Kansas City he's brought over. One thing that Bieniemy did in this game, Howell was only supposed to be in there for 2 drives. And I guess he got
Oh, yeah,
frustrated.
but you could see
and he
the
said,
enemy, like
they were only supposed to play a quarter.
he hadn't seen enough.
Yeah,
like
and he
he's like,
said,
you guys are going to
apparently
stay out
Well,
there.
I think
convinced Ron.
they had said they wanted to get a good drive before they pulled him.
Correct.
If he had a good drive on the first drive, they would have pulled him.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean the first 2 drives were garbage. So of course, yeah, they had to play the third one. And then as soon as he had that one, of course, you get him out of there.